Hey, this is the National Treasure, Nick Aldis, and I am recommending that you go to savewithconrad.com for all your home buying needs. If you listen to any of Conrad's shows, which I do on a regular basis, it's pretty hard to miss the fact that he's in the mortgage business. When the time came that we were looking to buy a place, it was really my first choice. I just got the feeling right from the start that Jimmy and Conrad and the whole team really wanted us to succeed. I have fond memories of the day that Jimmy called me, and by this point we had established that I'm more than okay with the occasional four-letter word, and so forgive me, but he called me and said, "Hey, you got your fucking house," and I was just like, hallelujah. It felt like it should. It felt like we were all on the same team. You know, it felt like we were in business together, which is to me is really how a home purchase and a mortgage process should feel. Not only would I recommend Save with Conrad to friends and coworkers, I have many times already. If I know that they're in they're house hunting, my first recommendation to them always is get in touch with Conrad. Like, his team are the real deal, and they will be straight up with you and do everything they can to get you in that house.
Hey guys, it's the hardcore legend Mick Foley here, and I need to call a quick timeout, a brief timeout, because I wanted to tell your listeners what I have been telling Foley is Pod listeners for a while now about all the cool things happening over on adfreeshows.com.
We kick off 2023 by going back to 1983 and the debut of the NWA U.S. Heavyweight Championship, commonly referred to as the 10 Pounds of Silver, on an all-new edition of Title Chase.
Overtime has just kind of worn out, and then Magnum TA told me himself that he finally just polished some of the rest of it out because it just had some little bit in the corners or whatever that had hung on, and so he just finished the job.
Our book series continues, and this time we turn to Jim Crockett Promotions. Conrad and David Crockett dive into Jim Crockett Jr.'s handwritten booking logs from January 1985.
So tell us exactly what we're looking at here, the red books.
All right, the red books, I have to tell you, are basically, and I'll hold one up, this is a calendar for a book for 1985.
Yep.
All right, in it, I'm just going to pull a page. Handwritten, the matches, and also the gross of the city, towns that we're in, the matchups. And this is the Bible. It was started with my father.
On January 24th, Ad Free Shows is bringing you another premium watch-along event as we celebrate the 35-year anniversary of the very first Royal Rumble. And we're watching it live with the winner of that historic match, Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Oh, hey folks, I'm WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan from the golden age of wrestling. And I'm celebrating the 35th anniversary of my win in the first ever Royal Rumble by watching this Royal Rumble on adfreeshows.com. Join me January 24th at 9 p.m. adfreeshows.com. Tough guy, first ever winner. Ho!
That's just a small taste, a sampling, if you will, of what we have waiting for you. With 4 levels to choose from. 4. See for yourself why Ad Free Shows is the best value in wrestling today. Sign up now, right now, at adfreeshows.com. Yeah.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to The Bitter Man. Of course, we couldn't do it without the Hall of Famer, the greatest of all time, ladies and gentlemen, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Rick, how are you, man?
Good, my friend. How are you? Great
Man,
birthday weekend for you and Megan, huh?
Dude, fantastic. It was awesome for you to do an old-fashioned run-in.
Nate, made it? Kept you up all night?
Well, I was told I had a great time.
You did.
That's what I hear. I tell you what I didn't have a great time with, and that's last night as you and I are recording this. Of course, our show drops on Wednesday. But Monday night, was the worst college football championship game of all time. I have been beating the drum for a long time that I wasn't really a believer in TCU. I've got some close friends who thought I was crazy, and there's no way Georgia could do it back to back. They had the widest margin of victory in bowl game history. It was just a lopsided affair with 9 minutes left in the game. I mean, they were just letting the 19th string play. This is crazy how dominant Georgia was. I know it didn't go your way. You were hoping it would be Michigan. What'd you think of that game? And could you make it all the way to the end? I did not.
Oh, I absolutely did not. But I can guarantee you this, but it's always been I'm being a Monday morning quarterback. Michigan would have given them a lot better game than they did. God,
Right.
Michigan just had the worst day of their life on one day. Great season. One day they just played a bad game, and they still only lost by 6 points. But you can't spot them. What they spot them? They fell along 1 yard line twice, and doesn't matter. That was horrible. But Georgia, good for them. You can't take it away from them.
Good for them. I know.
All they're talking about today is Georgia replacing Alabama. And I don't see that yet. They got a few more national championships to win before they do that.
Well, what was interesting to me is in the postgame, David Pollock, who himself is a reputable Georgia Bulldog alumni, who was a phenomenal player for them, just said it shoulder to shoulder with Nick Saban.
Yeah.
Georgia has taken over college football, and I thought to myself, I don't know if that was a good thing to say sitting next to Nick.
I think he apologized for it this morning. He didn't mean it like that. But when you're think about that. I tell David this all the time. When you're a first team AP, not first, second, or third, 3 times in a row in college, 14th player picked overall in the draft as a linebacker. I mean, the kid could play, man. Unreal.
It was
football.
phenomenal.
He's become a great broadcaster. I really like David a lot.
He's done a great job, and so did a friend of the show, Pat McAfee.
Yeah,
I watched a lot of that feed. It was more entertaining than the regular game, but boy, they had their work cut out for them. It was just not a fun show, and I'm sad to say, but when I switched over to Monday Night Raw, it felt like they had sort of programmed their show knowing we're going up against the national championship, but having no idea it would be a blowout. It just sort of felt like going through the motions Raw for me. And I had some friends who went to the show because it was in Birmingham, and I'm excited for us to be back on track this Friday night because the queen is back and she's got her championship belt, and it's officially Royal Rumble season, Rick.
I know, my gosh. It's 3 weeks away.
It's going to be a fun time. I'm pretty excited about the Royal Rumble this year, but before we talk about the Rumble, I want to talk a little bit more about football because, boy, you've been loud and proud on here talking about your old pal, Mr. Coach Harbaugh up in Michigan, and now he's under investigation. Are you guys competing to be the dirtiest player in the game? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, I look at it. What's the under investigation for?
Well, there's alleged recruiting practice violations, so I don't know what all
recruiting practice violations.
Recruiting and practice violations.
Yeah, but all related to football.
Yes.
So Jim Harbaugh is not under investigation.
Oh no, he's fine. The University of Michigan might not be, and there's even whispers that your man might actually be talking to some other teams. Do you think there's a chance that Coach Harbaugh goes back to the NFL, maybe a Denver Broncos or something like that?
I have no idea. To me, I'm a big fan of Russell Wilson, but I think Sean Payton is looking at that job. But I've got to say it because I got to say it because next Monday night, I've got to work all weekend, but I'll be back next Monday night. I'm actually going to the Cowboys game.
Oh man!
And I'm going to bet you the house that Tom Brady shuts the Cowboys down big time.
Oh, I'm so glad you're talking about this because listen, as you know, my entire family is Cowboys fans. I am not. I'm a Brady guy.
First take will be here in town.
I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be big. And I'm meeting Ray Lewis tonight for dinner, so I got a lot to talk about.
it's the most wonderful time of the year to be a football fan, except
Oh
when
God,
started.
unreal.
This starts to get nuts.
And you can't lose Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady and have as much fun.
No,
I'm telling you, Brady will be very hard to beat in Tampa next week.
It feels as if it has been almost predetermined because the Cowboys Buccaneers being the Monday night game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like something they drew up.
Now that's something Raw's got to worry about.
That Monday Night Raw next week is going to get destroyed against America's team versus Tom Brady. I just, woo.
I think anybody would. It's fair to say that it's not just Raw. Anything else will get.
No,
I know. When I heard it was Monday night, because I'm gone all week, and I thought it was going to be like a Sunday afternoon. But
right,
they know what they're doing.
Yes, they do.
It works, and they put those two guys at, and it's going to be great. Cowboys coming to town.
So just to reiterate, you're picking the Buccaneers.
Yes.
Well, just for the purposes of our show, I'll go with the Cowboys, as much as that pains me.
Well, your mom, if you can follow your family, that's okay.
Oh, no. Listen, I'm a Brady guy, but I do think the Cowboys are a better team this year. I don't think anybody's better than Tom Brady, but I think the Cowboys probably have a better team this year than the Bucs.
Oh my God.
I know. Let's talk about Saturday's game. There's going to be two big ones Saturday, the Seahawks and the 49ers. I'm picking the Niners. How about you?
Me, the Niners all the way.
Then we've got also on Saturday, the Chargers and the Jaguars. I don't know if you got a chance to catch the end of that Titans Jaguars game, but what a finish. They're a great story after the whole Urban Meyer disaster a couple of years ago. And of course, our friend Tony Khan. Come on, I'm pulling for the Jags. What about you?
Me, absolutely. I have no allegiance to. I like Justin Herbert, but I have no allegiance to the Chargers at all.
On Sunday,
not since Ernie Ladd played there.
The Bills are a huge favorite over the Dolphins. That makes me think they feel pretty confident Tua is not going to play. I don't think the Bills have any trouble with the Dolphins. What about you?
There again, it depends on if Tua plays.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel bad for the kid. I mean, he should have. Who knows? These medical decisions are made on the fly sometimes. Maybe he should have just sat out, longer in the beginning. But I hate to see him injured. It's not a fair assessment without him, because the Miami's got a good team,
right?
They're not the same without him. So I hope he does play, but I hope that it's reflecting on it's a reflection of how much his health has improved.
It's interesting too that the two players that I think the NFL universe have been most concerned about this year are Tua and Mr. Hamlin, and they're both of their teams are squaring off this Sunday, and then Sunday afternoon, boy, this one's going to have some special interest. The Giants and the Vikings. I think we might be split on this. I'm going Vikings on that one.
I'm going Giants all day long.
There we go. So
I'll tell you what, we're leaving off the team. It's going to be hard to beat. Joe.
Oh, the Ravens and the Bengals. They're playing Sunday night.
I know,
prime time game. If Lamar Jackson plays, it's Lamar Jackson versus Joe Burrow. Who do you got, Ravens or Bengals?
Joe Burrow.
We're aligned on everything
because Lamar he can't take 4 weeks off and expect to be 100%.
Right.
Unless he's training and we're not aware of it.
Well, he's a special player, and those are two of the most special players. This is the best time of the year to be a football fan. Maybe not so much the best time of the year to be a wrestling fan. But hey, as soon as these playoffs are behind us, it's all about the Royal Rumble. Everybody's talking about the Royal Rumble. There's lots of intrigue.
Yes.
We've sort of said a few times, hey, this guy could win, that guy could win. Do you have a prediction right now?
No, but I just saw Steve put up a video of Austin and him training really hard. So, maybe he will maybe he will come out.
Okay. All right.
Well, you see the video? Yeah, I know. Well, he's always in good shape. Steve always looks great. But I'll tell you what, it'll be, I think they're already sold out, but it'll sell out again if Steve wrestles.
Well, we know that we've got a handful of folks who have already been committed and announced. We've also got a Mountain Dew pitch black match, Bray Wyatt and LA Knight, and a singles match for the Undisputed Championship, Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens has enjoyed quite the year in the last year. Of course,
Oh,
going
that's at the Rumble.
yes, sir.
Okay. Who's the Queen wrestling?
I don't think they've announced that as of yet, but
Okay.
I'm sure we'll find out this Friday if I had to guess.
Yeah. Okay.
What'll be fun about that show, though, the Royal Rumble, is the 30th anniversary of Raw is the go home Raw for that. So that show will happen on Monday in Philadelphia. And then, of course, we'll have a Friday night SmackDown. And then on Saturday night, not a Sunday night, but a Saturday night, we're going to get the Royal Rumble. I'm curious. I hadn't really thought about what you're saying.
From the Alamo Dome.
That's right. A huge
Yeah.
dome. This will be the third time a Rumble's been there, I believe. There was one in 97, one in 2017, and one now. But the idea that maybe Austin's going to be in it. Do you think Austin's going to be on the 30th anniversary of Raw and proclaim that he's in the Rumble? Is that a prediction?
Oh no, I was strictly talking WrestleMania. I never thought about that. God, that would be something. That would be something. I mean, Steve Austin, he looks great. He always stays in shape. But it would be very exciting for me personally to see Steve in it.
Right. Well, I know this. He's in phenomenal.
But I mean, I think is Cody back?
They haven't announced it, but you got to think that he's going to be there, and maybe he'll show up at the 30th anniversary of Raw. As we're recording this last night, they aired like a comeback trail video telling the story of Cody's injury and his recovery. And that was part one. So there is going to be a continuation. And I don't know. I'm pulling for Cody. I hope this is his year. I hope it happens. But I am raising an eyebrow about, wow, what if Steve Austin does something? That'd be bananas.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think Steve needs to wrestle for the title. He needs to have a really good match, or, a real good opponent.
No doubt. No doubt.
Because I don't think he'd want to work full time.
Oh, of course.
And I don't think the company could afford to pay him to work full time. They could, but they'd have to go to the board of directors, whoever that is at that date and time.
We're gonna talk a lot about that today, but before we do,
you get permission to write that check.
We know for sure that Steve Austin's going to be in shape. We've seen the training videos. We know his diet's right, and we'd like to thank our sponsor, Titan Nutrition, offering a full line of expertly formulated nutritional products to help you achieve your health and fitness goals. And many of us plan to get moving and work off some of those holiday meals that accumulate around our waist this time of year. And one product that can not only help you burn off those excess calories, but also give you the mental boost you need to move your body is Titan's powdered weight loss formula, Elite. This great tasting drink increases your metabolic rate, so you burn more calories in the gym and at rest. It also contains healthy fiber, which is great for gut health and helps keep cravings away between meals. While it has plenty of caffeine to substitute your coffee, Elite also has a nootropic or smart drug complex to help you focus, lifting both your mood and your productivity. Elite comes in 6 amazing flavors that can be easily mixed and taken on the go. Find it at titannutrition.net and save 10%, plus get free shipping when you use the promo code Flair at checkout. That's titannutrition.net, and the promo code is Flair to save 10% and get free shipping. So, Rick, there's lots of wrestling news that have happened since you and I hooked up again. We talked a little bit last week about Wrestle Kingdom, and that's the New Japan equivalent of the Royal Rumble, or WrestleMania rather. And Sasha Banks made her debut for New Japan, and man, she has just set that world on fire. I know they had some trouble selling some tickets here and there in America. They announced exactly one match that she was in, and immediately nearly sold the thing out. There's just a handful of tickets that remain. The Battle in the Valley, February 18th, the San Jose Civic Center, and it's going to be for the Women's Championship. And man, everybody's talking about Mercedes Moné, the former Sasha Banks. And even New Japan's president was tweeting out about how incredible it is that they've nearly sold every ticket. By the time people are hearing this, probably not another ticket there. And this is a promotion that had, frankly, struggled to sell tickets here in America for a few years. Sasha Banks, though, boy, she's a needle mover. They've announced one match, Rick, and it's almost sold completely clean out. I'm excited to see what Sasha does post
Oh, me
WWE.
too. Huge fan.
It's a different time, a different era. Once upon a time, the ladies weren't considered a draw and it was considered an attraction and maybe a popcorn match. But really, in just a handful of years, that's all changed. And it's largely because I think the WWE focused on the quote unquote 4 horse women.
Mhm.
And when Sasha Banks and Charlotte were tearing it up down in NXT, people were saying this is like the ladies' equivalent of Flair Steamboat.
Yep.
But I just never imagined we would see Sasha sort of outside the tent. But I, for one, am glad she's getting the opportunity. You bounced around, and I think you probably had a better career because of it.
Yeah, I bounced around, not really by choice, but I kind of had to just, keep myself keep myself mentally sane. But I look at Sasha just like I look at Ashley, and there's a few others that are just so special that they can pretty much write their own ticket. I mean, I'm glad Ashley's with WWE, and she couldn't be more successful. I mean, 14 times, guys. To me, it's very realistic that she wins or actually surpasses the 16 goal. I think that would be on her plate, and I think it's something very possible. In terms of promoting, she makes a big difference when she's on the show. Huge. And I know once again it's my daughter, but I'm gonna say it. It's the truth.
No argument for me. I am curious to see if you've had a chance to see the independent wrestling news over the weekend. Are you familiar with the Battle of Los Angeles, or BOLA for Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, out in California? Have you ever heard of that?
No.
So it's sort of developed a reputation for being a launching pad for what might be one of the next big acts in professional wrestling. And over the weekend, we saw a couple of things that caught a few people by surprise. Speedball Bailey actually won the tournament. He is the Pro Wrestling Guerrilla Battle of Los Angeles tournament champion.
Mm-hmm.
And along the way, the Jericho Appreciation Society showed up. And the idea that Jericho was on an independent show probably caught a lot of people off guard. But of course, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla is closely affiliated with AEW through Excalibur. I got to tell you, I think it's kind of cool, the idea that you see acts from quote unquote one of the big two showing up on independent events. Do you think that would ever be possible on the WWE side of things?
No.
Why do you think that is?
Because of the WWE.
Oh, okay.
Why would they endorse something else? I mean, I get it, but
what's the upside?
Well, first of all, we're talking, and I'm the first to say I don't know everything,
right?
But I never heard of the company you're talking about.
Right.
They may never heard of me, but I don't think that's the case.
Well, I don't think that's the case either.
Right now, I'm focused on the fact that 2 hours of Flair is worth more than 2 hours of live TV.
You know what? Let's actually talk about that, because I know you got the inside scoop, and I think our graphic extraordinaire, our third man on the show today, Dave Silva, who's
that's gonna get some bad vibes.
Hey, let's talk about it. If you're not going to promote yourself, who is? I think Dave's got a graphic for us. This is directly from WWE. WWE content on Peacock was taken over by Ric Flair during the holidays. Over 70% of all content viewed included Ric. Wooooo, becoming Ric Flair, is quickly becoming the most watched WWE original hour on Peacock. Wooooo, becoming Ric Flair, is on track to beat WWE Evil as the #1 documentary on Peacock, and it has an 88% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. It's remarkable. Listen, when people think, oh, well, that's it, this is his swan song, we'll never hear from Ric again. Here you go. Man, the gift keeps on giving.
It's heat, though.
But you love it. Come on now.
Oh, no, I know. I'm just saying that's like over 1 million views of the first day.
I'm sure.
If you it could be like a minuscule, a very, very minuscule raw rating. And for sure in AEW already.
Well, here's the thing: it wasn't live; it's taped. So I bet after you tally it up after 30 days, and it probably beats a Raw, which is just crazy when you think about it.
No,
But
I'm talking about the first day.
yes,
I'm not talking about the whole 30 days. It's only been 2 weeks.
right.
The first day had 1 million views. That's what I've been told.
I heard from a ton of folks who I didn't think followed wrestling or kept up with wrestling, but they blew me up the day after Christmas to say, "Oh, I just watched the documentary. Oh, I just saw Megan on the documentary." Blah blah blah. And these are people who I know are not wrestling fans, but something about Ric Flair and nostalgia. Here we go.
Well, they did a hell of a job. I couldn't be, and I'm being taking a moment just to be. I guess what this says is that all that stuff that we did back in the old days still means something and still entertains them because, I know when there's a vibe in the air with wrestling, people will come to me, especially like when the Queen came back. I mean, that was huge news and everywhere I went, was Charlotte's back, da da da. And then this came along and saw stuff on what's old is new is never going to get old. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And this is this basically says it all. I mean, there's some new stuff to it, different people talking in the 30 for 30, but that, like I say, I feel it. I want that to be something my kids can be proud of too. That makes sense.
Yes.
I'm proud of it, but I want my family to be proud of it. It's part of my legacy, and certainly there've been enough people trying to take a shot at that over the years. So I'll just keep on plugging. If I can make it a couple more, maybe we'll do another one.
You know what's funny is I heard from a lot of people who asked, "Hey, with this new documentary, was Rick not happy with his 30 for 30?" And of course, Rick was happy with his 30 for 30. ESPN wanted to do a documentary on Ric Flair, and then Peacock wanted to do a documentary on Ric Flair. It's not as if you're calling up people saying, "Boy, I'd really like to do another documentary." Everybody wants one on their platform, right?
Yeah, I was surprised when they called me. That was after the Evil thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, I said, "Well, how are you picking me?" And they said, "That's what Peacock wants." And I went, "Wow!" I mean, this was at a time when I wasn't even on the face of the show,
Right?
and I thought, God, that doesn't make sense. And that's it all came together, and I was fortunate enough to go to SmackDown last week, even though I missed the Queen, because I didn't know she was coming back, or 2 weeks ago. No, it's just been a week, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's just been a week. No, it's been 2 weeks. So
10 days. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thrilled. I mean, it's something that, I mean, how many father, daughter, father, son people get to enjoy this ride that we're having together?
Yeah.
It's something very special, and you can look at it any way you want to, multiply it, divide it. I mean, it's special, and I'm extremely proud to be her father, and I hope that she's equally as proud of me being her dad, because you're not going to see it again for a long time. I don't know. I'm trying to look at it and pick it apart, and there's nothing to pick apart. It's unusual and it's great, and I just want to see her break every record there is, have it all.
Well, I'll tell you what else is breaking every record there is. RicFlairDrip.com. If you're out of the loop, if you're living under a rock, we got to break some news for you. Ric Flair's in the cannabis business. I can't believe this is real. Wooooo chews are right around the corner, but right now you can cruise over to RicFlairDrip.com. They got new t-shirts, they got stickers, they got lighters, they got grinders, they got rolling trays. You heard me, rolling trays. They got rolling papers. And of course, you can also find out where you can actually get the actual product over at RicFlairDrip.com. Man, this thing gets bigger and bigger and bigger every week, does it not?
The Wooooo chews will be out in 2 weeks.
I'm pumped for that. I'm pumped for that.
Don't take more than one. You won't wake up for 2 days.
Well, Well, you've even said here on the program that once upon a time you were a regular user of Xanax to help you sleep,
I
and
was not once or twice. I've been from 1989 until. I mean, I got off it a couple of times, but anytime it's just easy to take a Xanax and fall asleep at night. But now these with the chewies and the edibles, it's a whole different world for me.
a whole
And I don't wake up shaking. I mean, but like as I said to people, if you're trying to get off, it can't just be. You got to do it, carefully.
Well, something we want to do carefully here is send our respects to a couple of families. Unfortunately, Dustin Rhodes lost his mother since we've recorded, and I know that you grew up just when you were first trying to break into the business, just really looked up to Dusty, and I'm sure you had a chance to meet his first wife before, Michelle, Cody's mom, that most of us have seen on various products or programs. But what can you tell us about Dustin's mom, Dusty's first wife, and man, what a legacy she leaves behind with Dustin, huh?
Yeah. Well, my God, and Kristen.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, their marriage. I mean, they had a great marriage, and I only met her 2 or 3 times, but he took off from Texas and he went to AWA, and you don't get days off. And then Dusty, found his home in the South, in Florida, North Carolina, and he just didn't get home. So I don't remember anything being. I mean, I don't remember anything but good of the relationship.
Yes.
And I know Dusty was really proud, really is really proud to this day of Kristen and of Dustin. And it's just sad, but every time I turn around, and I'm aware of it myself because I'm getting older, but we lose somebody, and then it goes unnoticed. So I'm glad you brought it up today, because she was a great person, and Kristen and Cody or Kristen and Dustin are wonderful people, and both have done very well in life, and I'm happy for them. So sorry to hear about their loss, but I got a text from Cody while he was there, or from Dustin while he was there with his mom. So I got to speak with him via text, and he knows how bad I feel for him.
Another wrestling personality that we lost recently, we should mention, is
Kristen was a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to meet Kristen in Las Vegas a few years ago.
Oh, did you? Yeah, beautiful girl. Go ahead.
Talk to me about Don West. What a salesman, what a personality, what a larger than life figure that we saw in TNA. He and Mike Tenay made a phenomenal commentary team, and he became the iconic pitch man before that, selling baseball cards on TV, and then became the pitch man for TNA merchandise. And I'm sure you had some good times hanging out and carousing and drinking and raising hell with Don West.
Yeah, he was a great guy. I can't say enough. Just the whole TNA thing, I'd ended up on kind of a bad note, but I had a great time while I was there and met some wonderful people. James Storm and I remain close, and I love AJ Styles. I don't get to see AJ that much, but Kurt Angle was there, Sting was there. I mean, for me, it was just a continuance of another opportunity to be around some great people. Hulk was there. I enjoyed hanging out with Hulk. He was going through some major back issues back then, but it's now I talk to Hulk now. I'll see Hulk the 30th or the 23rd. I can't wait. So, and I hope Vince is at the show too. I was on the first Raw. I was on the first and second Raw, and that's when I left on the second Raw to go back to WCW.
I do want to talk about Vince, but before we do, I feel like we should at least acknowledge Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal having 2 big time matches just last week with AEW, going up against the Acclaimed on Wednesday night. And it was a super entertaining match. And it looked like Jeff and Jay were the new AEW tag team champs. They earned a rematch that happened on the live Friday night show. Tony Schiavone came out and said it was one of the most entertaining tag matches he had ever seen. Did you get a chance to catch any of Jeff and Jay doing their thing in AEW last week?
I did not. I was trying to think. I was with you Friday, I think, right?
Yes.
We did watch. We watched the Queen.
Yep.
And then I just think we continued Megan's birthday party after that. So I saw them Wednesday. They were great. I think they look great together. I mean, like I said, Jeff is a working fool, and I've always been a huge fan of Jay Lethal. So I hope. I don't know why to me it wouldn't be a bad move to put the titles on them.
Right, I agree. You know, the fun thing about wrestling is, creative is subjective. That's something Jeff always says, that creative is subjective. And the thing that I always gravitate to with that is, yes, the Acclaimed are super over right now and the crowd is with them, but there is some fun in having them chase. And when they won the title the first time, man, people just went bananas.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, as a rule of thumb, you prefer a heel territory or a babyface territory? Meaning where the heel is the champion and he's trying to
heels.
finish off. Yeah, I thought you would go that way. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sure you would too.
Yes.
It's what you grew up on and what you like the most.
Yes, absolutely.
Bad guys to get the shit beat out of us, but we're the champions.
Well, let's talk about why you think Jeff Jarrett has been so successful in this most recent AEW run. And I'm not saying that he's racked up a bunch of gold, but it does feel as if he's got a tremendous amount of heat. There are loud, crazy chants. People really, really hate Jeff Jarrett, and
because he knows how to old school talk. He knows how to be a heel. He doesn't give a shit. He's gonna piss people off. Nobody's writing down. I'm sure that they have given Jeff free hand to interview and say what he thinks, and that's where the heat comes. If you once again, if you don't feel it, and you don't feel it, and when you walk out there, and whether it's not obviously a real animosity, but he is saying things that make people mad.
Yes.
And it's like when I first saw Sami Zayn, and I should have realized that was good. He got so much heat with me. I couldn't stand his character. Now I love him. But at first I thought, what the hell are they doing? This guy, and here he is. He's entertaining as shit. And I stand corrected, man. I think he's great. But I first looked at it, this is such a serious faction, and these guys, clearly the Usos are the best tag team in the business. I'll argue that point with anybody. Or they're in the top two.
I think FTR, most people agree, are probably the top tag team. And I think sort of a dream match these days is FTR versus the Usos. A few years ago, it was certainly the Young Bucks versus the Usos.
Well, they wrestled them here a couple years ago. They tore it down.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. But I'm talking about the Young Bucks.
Yes. Well, let's talk about something else. We've got to address the elephant in the room. Man, you want to talk about some topsy-turvy news in wrestling. All of a sudden, it looks like Vince McMahon is back. And I don't think a lot of people would have had this on their bingo card. I have actually been saying for a little while, I don't think we've heard the last of Vince McMahon, but I've been saying for 2 years or more, WWE is going to be getting ready for sale. And you and I actually discussed this a little bit in person on Friday, and I don't think you're totally sold on that. You think Vince just wants to come back and have fun, or have you had any more chance to think about that? Where are you at on the news that Vince McMahon is coming back to WWE?
Well, first of all, it's not about who I like in that place, as opposed to, I personally love Vince McMahon. So I'm glad that he's back. I don't begin to know, and there's only a few people that do know, and I'm not one of them. But I worked for his dad in 1976. I've been with the McMahon family for a long time, off and on. And he gave me life when I didn't have life. He and Hunter brought me back and all that. We've discussed that 100 times. I got all the time in the world for him. And I honestly believe that he lives and breathes the business, and that he just said to himself, I own all this stuff. It's mine. I built it. I want back in. And I don't blame him. I mean, 30 years of being on TV on Raw. Think about that. 30 years. I mean, it's unbelievable. And I'll guarantee, I hope he walks out that door in Philadelphia, busts the door open and stands there and stretches down that aisle and says, I'm back. The place will go crazy. I guarantee you that will be a rating. No shit. They won't be against the Cowboys. It'll be him.
It's actually
I know I wouldn't miss it.
It is interesting when you think about the timing of all of the anniversary show and the way the NFL playoffs work out. Because this coming Monday, you're right, they're up against a big time football game, but on the 23rd, that will not be the case.
No.
And that episode should blow a huge number. And I hadn't even considered the idea that Vince might actually be at that show as an on-camera character.
Why not? He owns the company.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
He owns it. I think it'd be tremendous. I mean, if you had Steve Austin and Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon, and I don't even know what they're doing with me, but I'm insignificant compared to those guys. If they're there for the show, unless the Rock is coming, I mean, man, what a show!
What a show indeed.
But I think 30 years. I believe wholeheartedly that Vince should be there and should get the recognition for the 30 years that he's been busting his ass, producing that show.
Well, I know you've been overwhelmed with the response from Wooooo Wings, Nature's very own virtual restaurant brand. It's now operating in more than 30 locations across 11 different states, and there's a ton more on the way. You can order the legendary flavors and world championship Wooooo Wings from your Uber or Postmates app in Nashville, San Antonio, Miami, Jacksonville, Clearwater, all over LA and New York, Charlotte, Raleigh, and Concord, North Carolina, Atlanta and Richmond Hill in Georgia, Tuscaloosa and Huntsville in Alabama, plus Tulsa, Providence, and so many more coming your way. Wooooo Wings is a virtual brand, so it's delivery only, and the food is made by restaurant partners with an existing location who are looking to add more to their bottom line. For a complete list of current locations or to find out more about becoming one of Ric Flair's restaurant partners, visit RicFlairWings.com. If you're in a Wooooo Wing city, order today from the Uber Eats or Postmates app and try the only chicken wings worthy of carrying the name of the 16-time world heavyweight champion, Wooooo Wings. So Rick, let's talk about Vince back. A lot of fans who didn't think they enjoyed the WWE creative before he left are nervous that Vince is going to come back and try to change to his way of wrestling, and it's going to be his vision for wrestling. I, for one, think this is probably just a business decision, and he wants to make sure, hey, I have a voice in these television rights negotiations, and I have a voice in the event of a sale. Because, I mean, listen, this was his baby. He built it. I think that's fair. I don't know necessarily that anything creatively is going to change. Do you think Vince will insert himself creatively again, or will it just be a business deal?
I don't know. I mean, Hunter has been doing a hell of a job. The ratings, I mean, the ratings I've heard have been very good. I mean, they've had a couple tough ones against football, but can't count those. SmackDown's been on fire. I mean, I don't know the answer to that. I think he'd want to have something. He may have an idea or two, but I think he's probably pretty happy with the way it's worked out. I don't know. Once again, there's going to be 1,000 people on 1,000 podcasts speculating, and none of them know shit. So I don't want to be one of those guys that doesn't know shit either and says something stupid. All I know is that he can do it. It sounds to me as he can do anything he wants to do. If he can fire 2 people off the board of directors and replace them with my pals, George and Michelle. I love Michelle Wilson.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people saw that happening. That Vince sort of reclaimed 3 board seats, put himself and George and Michelle back on it. But kudos to him, man. He made a lot of money, and the company did really, really well with George and Michelle, that leadership
Yeah.
team. Them being back involved in the company has to be a value add. I just don't see business wise. Now, I'm not talking about creative. Let's time out on that. I know a lot of wrestling fans are nervous, but I'm saying business wise, having Vince, George, and Michelle involved has to be a net positive for the company.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't understand. My question is, why would having Michelle and George? They know the business.
Yes.
I don't even know who they appointed in their place, but they've been with the company for 20 years.
Yes.
Michelle, I can tell you, in my opinion, is as good a person, lives and dies for the company, and she's intelligent, and she's a beautiful, nice woman who legitimately cares about people, goes out of her way to be nice. I mean, I think she's a huge addition. George, I don't know that well, but I got so much respect for Michelle Wilson. So she can't do anything but help. She's great.
Yeah, I haven't had the pleasure of meeting them, but I know that they're
and do you even know the guys who got fired?
Well, I know one of the names on there supposedly was the guy who helped lead the investigation against Vince. And
what does he know about wrestling?
Well, there you go.
That's my answer. What are the 2 people that got fired know about wrestling?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that just goes on in business everywhere. I don't know how in the hell people that know nothing about wrestling can get on the board of directors except just to be in an appointed position and say yes or say no. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Michelle and George, they'll express their opinion. I know it. I've heard it. That's one of the reasons they probably were gone for a while. Yeah. Something that someone didn't want to hear.
I mean, I think a lot of it was probably around the network discussion. I mean, there was a lot of speculation at the time about perhaps once upon a time, George and Michelle were not in favor of totally abandoning the pay-per-view model in favor of the network. Mm-hmm. And they had some maybe optimistic numbers they were trying to hit as far as their subscriber base, and they never quite got there. But with them out, apparently Mr. Nick Khan, and I'm sure a supporting cast of folks, put together a pretty landmark deal for Peacock to take over that network, at least here domestically. And it's a rights fee. And it feels like WWE has been making a lot of those deals with Nick Khan behind the scenes. I think they've sort of switched around their merchandise department and gone with Fanatics. And I've heard that has been a gangbuster move as well. And it feels as if WWE has started to license out a lot of these things, which maybe cleans up some of their books and some of their overhead and some of their liability and responsibility. And they just enjoy the cash flow, including, your great close personal friend, Mr. Ryan Fitterman. He's like their official autograph partner. So some of those deals have been home runs for Nick Khan and WWE, but now bringing in the old regime too. If they really can collaborate, man, WWE might be bigger than ever. And as we're talking, investors kind of believe the same thing. And that's really what we're talking about here. Over the last 5 days, the stock is up 29.24%.
Yeah.
I mean, process what we're saying here, guys. If you could get a damn near 30% boost to your stock price in 5 days, why wouldn't you? Good for them.
Yeah, and bringing up Ryan Fitterman is a great analogy. Ryan is a genius, and yes. Ryan is the most honest, committed guy in the industry when it comes to the autographs, and he runs the great shows. He's big time. He's replaced so many other people I could mention along the way because he's honest. He works his ass off. He treats everybody first class, and the guys that I know of, like Taker and that, who I sign with a lot, love working for the guy, and that's a big part of it. It's so much more enjoyable to go to work when you love working for the person. And Ryan Fitterman is a great guy. I mean, the 2 best things that have happened to me in the last couple of years are Ryan Fitterman and, of course, Chad Bronstein.
Yeah, no doubt.
I don't need to work again, but I'm obviously going to. But for the first time, did you ever think you'd ever hear me say that?
No. Good for
you. If I just follow with those 2 people, that's all I got to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, still I have Car Shield and other opportunities, but because of Ryan and Chad, man, I'm a lucky son of a bitch.
Let's just
Very
remind
lucky.
everybody
And Conrad Thompson,
Oh,
yes.
listen to you. Come on now.
Listen, like here's the deal. People, I'm just gonna brag for a minute, okay?
Oh Lord.
No, this is you. I'm bragging to you about you, okay? Was I happy with the end result? No, because I didn't pull off my end. But if you told me, and you have to help me out with this because you're the one that gives me that feedback. If you'd have thought, didn't we trend on ESPN #1?
Yeah, you were the front page of ESPN more than anything else in combat sports or pro wrestling or whatever last year. Yeah.
In 2022
Mhm.
for the whole year.
Yep.
Okay, that's the last match.
Yes.
73 years old.
Yep.
And now where are we with Peacock?
Number one, Daddy. Number one.
I'm the luckiest son of a bitch alive.
You are.
I am.
You are.
No shit. But it's because you came up here and we rode my boat and you haven't come back since.
Well, you know why? I'm in timeout, man. You've seen Wharton. I'm in timeout.
Listen, we were in a goddamn. I don't. If that's not a 5-star hotel, I don't know what is.
It was fantastic.
And I worried about us walking in underdressed. Hell, at 1 o'clock in the morning, you were walking around barefoot in the lobby of the hotel.
Yeah, I hear it was a good time. I mean,
nobody. Hey, and then the question came up if we could have our food brought in front of the TV, and the girl goes, "Oh, I don't know." Okay, but a half hour later, all the food.
Let me tell the story. So here's what happens. I always try to make sure I take Megan to the beach for her birthday and invite some friends and family, and I line her up her massage on her birthday. And so I'm waiting for her outside for her to finish her massage. She comes out and she goes, "Hey, let's go get some lunch and have some drinks." And I said, "Okay." So we pull up at this like beach bar, and at the time the sun's overhead and it's feeling pretty good. By the time you show up, we've been there a few hours and it's getting a little chilly, and you say, "Let's go inside." So we bounce around a couple of places, but again, we started our morning with a massage. We're still in our pajama wear from the morning, but we've, as a friend of mine once said, you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're doing that, and now we're in a nice restaurant or a nice hotel lobby bar, and they have a fantastic restaurant in that same building that we had dinner reservations for, but you didn't know that. And we assumed, hey, after we go eat lunch, we're going to go back to the house, take a nap, take a shower, get ready, go out. No, the Nature's here. It's nonstop. Let's go. And you ask, can we order food out here? And she goes, no. And this is the most Ric Flair thing ever. Can you just ask for me? Can you tell them it's for me? And I'll be damned. Here comes the whole chef staff coming out for pictures and autographs. And yeah, we're eating the finest food that exists in the Panhandle in a lobby bar. It's fantastic.
And you and your bare feet.
The comment was over. I
was gonna say, are you aware of the fact that this guy over here owns the Conrad? I said, come on.
No. I mean, I'm in my pajamas, just thinking I'm going to take my wife to get a massage. No big deal.
How about the dumbass that asked us to leave the table? And I looked at her and said, now I know I'm in Alabama. Who throws Ric Flair out of a bar?
Clearly,
I hadn't even had a drink yet.
No.
Go stand in line. What? I thought you're dead. We don't stand in line. And I walked out. I said, "After 23 years, I haven't stood in line, and I'm going to start right here."
I'll never forget.
Your dad was dying.
Hey, son, is this normal? Yes, sir. It is. We're not going to wait in line when we were three. Hey, let's talk about WWE stock again. I know this is maybe only interesting to you and I, but I think the all-time high for WWE stock is $96.73 a share. Mm-hmm. As you and I are recording, they're at $88. I think they're going to pass the all-time high. I think it might touch 100. And less than 10 years ago, it was like $7.50. And we both know people who bought in at like $10. A lot of people are about to make a lot of money in WWE.
Yeah, you know who bought it in $10?
Somebody. No.
Huh?
Yeah. Somebody.
You know
Yeah.
Yeah. You saw her Friday night.
Yes, I did.
Can you believe it?
It's awesome, dude. It's fantastic.
Yeah, she bought 40,000 worth.
And it's about to be 10x. So we're going to turn 40,000 into 400,000.
Yeah.
The people who are saying, "Oh, WWE's dead," that's just not reality, folks. It's just not.
I hate to bring this up again, but the guy that you do a podcast with said in 1999 or in 98, WWE is dead, and
Later this month, I don't think they're doing the 30th anniversary of Nitro.
hey, I was waiting for you to say that. Only you can say that. Only you can say it.
My goodness, ladies and gentlemen, we're having a lot of fun. Part two, and we hope you'll check out RicFlairShop.com. I don't know if you've seen this, but you guys have a brand new RF unisex pullover hoodie. It's the iconic RF that you used to see on Rick's boots. Now it's in a hoodie. Tons of fun gift items over there, and just something for every Ric Flair collector there is over at RicFlairShop.com. And we also want to thank Jimmy's Famous Seafood, who is shipping food nationwide. And if you want to bring the very best crab cakes in the world into your home, you can use our very special promo code Flair and get free shipping on orders over $125. You get the best crab cakes in the world. You'll get the soups, the chowders, the oysters, the signature steaks, plus the desserts and gluten-free items. You can go ahead and create your own package, or you can get the famous gift box, which has 4 of the world's best colossal Maryland crab cakes, 2 different crab soups, crab dip, seafood seasoning, and their signature bay sauce. Or if you're like Rick and I and you're ready for these playoffs this weekend, man, check out the tailgate bundle. 2 pounds of wings, a full rack of ribs, a pint of crab dip, crab cake mix, and so much more. These guys are the real deal. Been around for more than 4 decades. Once upon a time, Rick used to go to Baltimore and hang out at Sabatino's. Not anymore. Everybody from AEW and WWE goes to Jimmy's Famous Seafood, and you should too. Bring it to your house. Jimmy'sFamousSeafood.com. Free shipping when you use our promo code Flair. Rick, I don't know what I expected today, but as always, man, I have fun just catching up with you.
Yeah, man.
About what's going on in wrestling. What's your prediction? Do you have one? Royal Rumble 2 weeks, 3 weeks away. What are you thinking?
The winners?
Uh-huh.
God, can I make my prediction next week after I see SmackDown?
Let's do it next week. I'm gonna.
I didn't watch enough of Raw last night, and I need to watch 2. God, I won't be watching much of Raw next week either. Darn it. I'll just have to catch up on it. But to me, it's all going to depend on who's healthy. I mean, on the women's side, it could be Rhea. It could be Becky. It could be Bailey. I mean, I don't know. And on the men's side, it could be. Well, I don't think Randy's back. Cody would be my favorite. I'd love to see Cody win it and go into a big match.
I would too, man.
Yeah. And if Steve came, holy cow. I mean, that would be the coup de grace if Steve showed up. So I would really love that. I'm just looking forward to seeing him at 23. For last time I saw at the last reunion at 25, I had just gotten out of the hospital and I hadn't really drank that much, Hell, I was awesome. And I had 10 micheladas, went upstairs and had an anxiety attack and I was going to die. I woke up, I was fine. So I did it again the next day.
That is the most Ric
Steve, if you can hear this, I can't wait for the 30th reunion. Hogan. I said, Hulk, go in early, we'll get drunk. He said, oh God, Hulk. I said, Jesus Christ, we might not be here for 31.
Well, let's not say that. Come on.
Well, you never know, brother. Brother, I was gonna say, you never know, brother.
Well, you never know what we're going to talk about, but I'm sure next week there's going to be a lot of fallout. You and I are going to be talking Cowboys, Tom Brady, and everything else that happens this Friday night on SmackDown. We'll see you next week right here on To Be the Man.
Here's a prediction. After the Buccaneers beat the Cowboys, I'm going to find Tom.
Oh.
And I'm taking him downtown.
Ooh.
I'm spreading the word.
Tampa will never be the same. Show up at the waterfront Marriott, 18 to 28. No husbands, no boyfriends.
Nothing. Just me and Tommy.
See you guys next week.
Bye, guys.